Okay. Technical difficulties with the computer. Now it is a light stand. Let me tell you something. This masculine, feminine union reading is not for you to go in on other people, call them karmics, feel as if anybody else is standing in your way, because that's not how it goes. Okay? The combined energy for the reading is door to value. That's your value, your partner's value, what have you. This is ultimately where it's leading, okay? Whether you're with them or not. Are you with yourself? You got to be with yourself. You have to be with yourself, or else it doesn't matter who's masculine, who's feminine. You are masculine, you are feminine, period. That's it. No exceptions. On the feminine side, as you saw in the previous video, blossoming abundance and financial constraints comes up. These are one and the same. They're polar opposites. This is what is available, and this is what is seen. This is what is visible for the feminine aspect that can see limitation, that can see roadblocks, that can see detours as being problematic, won't take the chance to go after the blossoming abundance. It's as if you move this cupboard or tear down this wall here. The wall is fear itself. And you have this freedom to choose, to have, to manifest, to develop. The feminine aspect is coming up in her fullness here with the Empress and the King of Cups, controlling the emotions in order to manifest the abundance, in order to expand on the abundance. Let these things grow and come into fruition. Any vows and commitments that you have made to people in your past, the type of beliefs that you've developed over the years, the people that you are committed to and vowed to, your upbringing, your culture, those are your constraints. Defense mechanisms that don't defend you, they block you. The only thing you're defending yourself from, feminines, I'm speaking to the men too, this isn't gender specific, is the fear of busting out of experience of others, watching how other people's lives unfolded, the guidance that was given, that was learned at a young age, throughout childhood. You know, why do you fear being successful? Because someone else didn't have their success, or someone else failed at something? Who are you measuring yourself up against? It's in reverse. There is no one to measure yourself up against. So the vows aren't to something external. They're to something internal. Love is evident. It's present. And sure, you can vow to that. But if you truly have the mental, emotional maturity, growth, you've put in the work, you're going to be standing as the King of Cups when it comes to this regard of expanding in a physical way. This is changing the masculine and feminine role. Not saying that you have to, run a Fortune 500 company, but the thing is, your vows and your commitments up until this point have kept you from doing so, have kept you from living that fulfilling life, from becoming that ultimate archetype of love and abundance. Not just abundance in the heart. You can have abundance of emotion, but if you don't have control over them, you really have nothing. Is the message. So now for the masculine, we have yin yang and the world. This is where a convergence is happening, where you take both aspects. One seems foreign to the masculine, and that is to accept the feminine fully, the feminine within oneself. Because with upbringing, the feminine is a weaker structure in the grand scheme of things, which is false. It is the basis to safely run in the masculine. And the imbalance up until this point has been that the masculine has been acquiring and going after these things, and the feminine has been trying to achieve this. You cannot balance yourself on an imbalanced system. Stepping into the shoes of the other polarity, applying it to the polarity that you are most dominant in, is the strength here. And I say that because with the masculine, love life, and this version of the Fool card is coming in. You have to do something you've never done. You have to take action in a way that you never have. It's taken a lot of courage. The vulnerabilities are so present. Love life, the love of life. This is where the masculine starts to exude the feminine polarity. There has to be a trust. There has to be a surrender. There has to be a completeness, a wholeness. And this is what separates the feminine from the masculine. And this is what has separated the masculine from the feminine. And she can be, and I say she only because I'm referring to the feminine aspect, can be as attractive, successful, and balanced as they want to be. But if the masculine is not in a point of surrender to the energy that rules the feminine won't be able to accept. For instance, an example only, if you're dealing with a relationship partner and they have not gone through the surrender process of themselves and accepting and jumping into this newness, this feeling of being whole, there's no way that it can come together. This is all you will see. That's all you will see. That's all you will witness. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how beautiful you are. We know these things. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how high on your throne you sit. If the counterpart is not balanced and whole, it doesn't matter. You will be, but you won't be accepting of this. You won't be in alignment with the imbalances of your polarity, of your counterpart. And their tarot cards are coming up as the Lovers and love itself. A new level. Excuse me. A new level. The world. Yin yang. This is where you will see in your life where the masculine is coming into a realization what they have done to contribute to where they are. And that's the equivalent of the financial constraints, the boundaries, the borders that the feminine witnesses when it comes to love, when it comes to home, hearth, finances, career, family, everything that she puts forth. This realization sparks this realization. This balance brings this into fruition. And consider this part of yourself, your habits, your tendencies, your thought patterns, the way you conduct yourself in business, your actions, what you have done, your rituals, your habit, the things that you are consider tried and true, but they're tried and false. And that's what this realization has come to be. And every shortcoming that the feminine aspect of you has compromised on, not taking risks, not coming to her fullness of, seeing everything half empty. Even a glass half empty has air in it, so it's always full. And that's the blossoming abundance that you don't recognize, that you don't see, that you discredit. At one point, I feel that this was leading, that this is the potential of you, feminines, and this was what was exuding. With the scarcity, though. I have all these emotions, I have all these ideas, I have all this information, abstract, things that can't be seen, can't be touched, but I don't know how to enact it and expand on it. So I'm just going to have this passion, have this emotion towards what I can do, what I can provide, what I can build on, and just sit here. Stifle it. This is too prude, or that is too shrewd, or this does not fit. Maybe I don't feel comfortable exposing that part, expressing that part. Empress stands in the forefront now. You know why you feel what you feel about what you feel. You know why it's important for you to express it now. In a physical, tangible way. Whereas this stuff is internal on the masculine's portion. So now you put action towards this and you internalize this. This yin-yang was a choice. You don't have to choose only knowledge or only life. You can live in knowledge. Now, because the cycle is complete, the feminine still has to take it up a notch. This is where the masculine is doing its work, finishing its cycle. And this new sense of passion-driven purpose, I would call it, is taking form. It's taking shape. It's now it's getting passed over to the feminine as an added power for her to utilize. These are two major arcana. Ace, king. Aces are boss. You know what I mean? They're the new beginning of. But this king is the end of. It's the last of its suit. It is the maturation of. So in a moment, this newness that is physical, that you can, even though it's happening internally, it's a pep in the step. You can sense it. You can feel it. It's excitement. It's joy. It's causing the feminine to have to step up her game. Now the feminine will have to go from this maturation and take this approach. It's almost there. It's almost there. End of the cycle. Beginning of the cycle. Take what the masculine is giving you. The power, the strength, the brand new burst of energy, The capacity of the masculine is deepening to accept, to withhold, to handle what's about to be birthed here. There's a gestation period. It's been simmering and sitting and marinating on this. You take this cup, implant it, birth. So now, what I see on a below aspect, what's happening in the material realm, the masculine and feminine, the end of contracts, karma is being cleared. Separation of things. And it goes back to vows and love life. There's a broken contract. If I just tell you the cards without digging deeper, a broken contract. Things were not upheld in the status quo. It's a great thing. It's a good thing. Very good thing. And this shows me that it is. The Hanged Man is talking about sacrifice needing to be made, change in perspective. This person is not a victim. They're hanging in suspense to analyze and figure out why they were in this position. But it was something that they did that attributed to it. An end to your own mess. I vowed to do this, do that, and do this. Why? Because that's what I saw. That's what I was taught. That's what I know. Is that how I feel? No, that's not how I feel. Because up until this point, this is all the fuck that I've gotten. Financial constraints are talking about energy too. Abilities. You're only at half staff. Because everyone surrounding you never could show you the full effect of your power. No one. They aren't as powerful as you. So how could they ever? If they're not living their truth, they can't show you how to live yours. So this is why this contract had to be broken. Because finality and balance had to be brought into play. And I know that for certain. The card above, that's happening in the subconscious, and the ethers, and the astral, the celestial realm, is justice. Whether you understand it or not, this is eternal balance at play, checks and balances. There is so much power in what's happening. No matter if this broken heart is literal or if it's just a remnants of what you used to have, who you used to be, who you used to love. The feminine is realizing it's okay to not keep going with the contract's first set. I know I agreed to this in the beginning, but let me find that clause in that fine print and get the fuck out of this. Because they're spiking the punch. And I can go down with everybody else, but I know something's wrong. I know something's up. I can see it physically. My project's failing, my money dwindling, things not getting off the ground. Something has to change. This contract is null and void. I don't want it. It's like I'm getting retract, retreat. Having to reconsider what you're vowing yourself to. Person, place, or thing? Wrong. Self. Love life, broken heart, masculine. That facade of what they assumed their love life should feel like, should look like, what it should provide them, it never did. It's not going to. This is where the mask comes off. Past attachments, broken. Contracts, broken. This is where the masculine steps in and can now sense the difference between logic and emotion. Knows the difference between what was written and what was unwritten. This unwritten is internal. This is something that only true balance can have you feeling. This a 22 is right in alignment. This is truth. And no logic can explain it. And that's the masculine coming to terms, coming to grips with the fact that everything I thought I knew was false. So even in your heart of hearts, if you're setting vows to others, I will love this person for a lifetime, or I'll never get over you. Those are spells. Those are contracts. Those are what keep people bound for lifetimes and years. The words that you vowed to a partner or to yourself. I will never love anyone as much as I love this person. Or I will, it's it's conditional. And so this will be easier to handle, this broken heart. Because true love doesn't hurt. It's just the detachment. It's like pulling off a Band-Aid. You'll feel it in your heartstrings. But it makes so much emotional sense that the logic is not needed. The ruling just is. And therefore the perspective changes. It changes. Once, when you thought you were in this, it felt like you were bound, like you were tied up. Because the promises that you made to yourself, because of whatever you witnessed, whatever you saw, you based your life off of that. You made a prototype off of that. Seeing other couples as in high school, or seeing people in your family get married, get together, behavior they had. I'll never put up with that, or this is what I want. You made your list. You made your contracts. You made your vows. You're not living in anybody else's footsteps because you haven't walked there. Uncharted territory. Let that shit ride. So now this contract is broken. These commitments are broken. Former commitments are broken. This here, they're going to feel like this shit is getting ripped apart. You understand what this process feels like already. The feminine has already felt this in these contracts, within these contracts. How, if these contracts were ever put into place, these commitments to these people, to this situation, to this life, if it was for your betterment, you wouldn't be feeling this way all the time. You have to reevaluate what you're vowing to, what you're marrying yourself to, what you're combining yourself to. And the masculine is feeling the effect of the times the feminines vow to them, whether they're divine counterparts or not. False promises or unreasonable expectations mirrored after someone else's doings and livings and beings, their grandparents, their parents. Sometimes it's a model, sometimes it's a downfall. And so keep this in mind. This value, this door to value, is physical for the feminine and internal, emotional for the masculine. Coming into a sense of knowing and newness and balance. Knowing. Now it's time for the feminine to create. Abundance, value, feminine, expansion, growth, fertility, femininity, creativity, attraction, finances, the masculine, balance, love, emotion, intuition, spirit. You get it? You see it? You get me? You feel me? You understand? This is also what's happening above with justice. This patience, well underway. Well underway. What I see, just in the number aspect, you split that 51. You split this 16. You have 11. You have 5 and 6. That's 11. I see triple 11s when I look at these two cards. These two archetypes are in the same stance. Healing takes patience. So while the physical aspect of the expression of the feminine is being healed, the masculine is needing much patience while they balance this shit here. They'll understand there aren't two halves of a heart. That this shit cracking wide open is so it can grow larger and expand. How? If it doesn't crack open, will it be able to fit more? And this here, you do not heal this mentality, this withholding, this holding back. That will be lost to you. So it's a lot occurring right now. There's a lot. Because up until this point, the feminine was trying to master her emotions, and in doing so still limited what she could do. And the masculine was always in a state of indecision. Should I leave? Should I stay? Should I try? Should I not? Instead of following the inner compass and acting with integrity and knowing. So patience has run out. This shit here, patience has run out. and the choice was made for you. There's no more patience with this indecision. We gave you a time limit and you didn't take it. You didn't act, and so therefore something was decided on your behalf. Because you want to be stuck in your ways, not express too much, not give fully, doubtful, unsure. This is all you saw. Even if you had some successes, they were followed by something that were not successful. They were followed by something that counterbalanced. Everything that you did. Things did not pan out the way that you expected them to. And you're thinking that you're committed to the right things, to the right causes, putting in the right effort and the right emotion and the right action. And it wasn't. Not at all. Not at all. And so they're having to look into their love of life. What? Now that they have no options, because the options that they thought they were banking on or that were safe, those are broken. Now they have no choice but to look. They have no choice. In this here, because these contracts were broken, I have to vow to something else, something new, to what I can do, what I can produce. This person is no longer dependent on having the choice to make. This aspect of you is no longer dependent on being committed to following blindly the masculine, which is ego-based. Now it's internal. It's truth, committed to something that upholds the integrity. This contract was made blindly, if I look at it literally. This contract was made blindly. She wouldn't even know that they're off balance, and they are. She's just hoping that things will be fair and work out in her favor if she continues her commitments in the way that she was doing. But this is showing me that everything is getting shaken up and for a good fucking reason. This will take time to heal, but it's because it's a busting out of the shell. Look at those birds. Look at this fool. The masculine is like brand new. Born again virgin. Having seen, haven't felt, haven't touched, haven't tasted love in this way. Never experienced the level of emotion in this way, ever. And the financial success coming in for the feminine aspect, where the creativity soars and you start to get more innovative. That level of abundance has never been tasted, has never been witnessed. The only thing that's been happening between these two is refining the weakness of the other. The apprehension of the masculine was fear of trusting the feminine. In the apprehension of the feminine was fear of rejection from the masculine. There has to be internal surrender Clear the board. How? This is mental. This is spiritual. This imprisonment is the same as what I have here. Broken heart, financial constraints. In the mind, I am broken. I am broke. It's an equivalent. It's an equivalent. They're one and the same. They're both affected. Being stuck. Now I switched it up. The vows on the feminine side. Going with this broken heart of the masculine. Because internally, what you've been vowing to is not sufficient, and you know it, and it fucks with you, and it breaks your heart every time. And so this is all you feel you have, is lack in love, in your love life. There's nothing there. There's nothing here. But it feels like contract you can't get out of. That's why the hangman usually comes up reversed. I mean, upright like this. But it came out reversed, as did the contract. And that's what let me know that all this shit is getting wiped clean. Because the wisdom is that past experience is not your teacher in the way that you think it is. There's a fear. There's a sense of history will repeat itself. But that's because you haven't changed history. You keep repeating it. Out of fear. What the fuck? You have to be new approaching this shit like you've never done it before. Like you've never done it before. And you gotta choose to be okay with the other shit ending, because it hasn't been satisfying anyway. You have nothing to lose if this is all you've seen. This is all you've felt. And this is the yield every time you try to invest. It's a fucking trap. Contract upside down. This wisdom is something that you can't touch. You can see the physical yield of it once it starts to materialize. Once it starts to materialize. But until then, this is something you have to trust. You're going to have to trust that you know best. And I tell people, the reason why you're so upset is because you knew the result of your choice. You did it anyway, and you're upset because you can't trust yourself to make a decision. You can't trust. Your feminine falls for someone that your masculine is not accepting of. But you put forth the action, and your feminine just refuses to surrender. You end up with a broken heart because your feminine knew that those actions you were taking in a masculine approach in this relationship or in this partnership, in this business, in this job, were not going to matter and not going to end up in your favor. And now you're upset and brokenhearted and feeling lack because you cannot trust your own judgment. So you question everything now. Everything that you do, everything that you think, because you can't trust your own gut. Yeah. Heart chakra. Come with it. Raphael. You have the maturity. You have the wisdom. This is the choice. Why are you on the fence? It makes no sense why you don't trust and surrender. Or why you don't allow the masculine portion of you to fall safely, to step in safely. You feel like you're handling someone who is of a different nature when you're two of the same coin. Everything that you've seen and witnessed up until this point was all illusionary. And this is right on the heels of Mercury shadow period and the Virgo full super wolf moon and all that other shit. You've been seeing things through a skewed perspective. Hangman. Now it's reversed. And everything that has happened up until this point is justified. No explanation needed. Don't look for any. You can look for closure, but understand that it happened for the best, for you, for them, whomever is involved. And I had 2 other cards, and it seems that they have been messed with. And I cannot remember what they were. Or do I? And I'm very upset because I have one hand and I can't shuffle. I need a kickstand. But yeah. So this is where let me go ahead and set the cards again so you can see. This is where the masculine can step into a passive approach when it comes to finances and money, because they have a mastery. They can attain a mastery when it comes to finances. Not saying that men are more financially stable or no shit like that, but what I'm saying is that business mind, that logic. Queen status. This Queen of Pentacles, she can do every fucking thing, right? Well, it's a little harder for her to release control and to let this lead. I'm just saying. But it's showing the masculine taking a lighter approach, taking a step back. Now this this feminine regard can lead, but it has to free itself. Come out of that cloak. Get into your birthday suit. Even these folks are naked. I'm just saying. But the masculine can physically appear naked and still not show themselves inwardly. So that's what... Oh, shit. That, my friends, that right there. So now it's a coming together where the masculine is like a brand new fucking baby. Look at that. A family of nakedness. and this here. The Empress in this energy can represent that angel, can represent this here. This is what they combine to bring into fruition. If the feminine has emotional maturity and the masculine brings the trust and brings the stability, they can create something much larger. Much, much larger. Look at that shit. Look at the fucking look at that. Look at that. This is what made out of love. And this is the yield.